All right, today we're jumping into something really fascinating. We're going to decode this incredible story about a woman whose body is literally at war with itself. And to unlock it all, we'll be using one of the most famous feminist texts ever written as our guide.
So let me ask you this. What if your body just declared war on you? A war you didn't even understand? That question is right at the heart of Marie Cardinal's novel, The Words to Say It. I mean, just think about that for a second. Your own body turning into this enemy that you can't control and you have no idea why.
So this enemy, it actually has a name, la chose, which just means the thing. And it is terrifying. We're talking about an unstoppable flow of blood that doctors just can't explain. It baffles them. Now, you could kind of think of it like what Freud would have called hysteria. It's this idea that the body's literally screaming a message, using physical symptoms because the mind just can't find the words yet.
Okay, so how on earth do we figure out what the body is trying to say? Well, for our first section here, we're going to pull out a pretty powerful tool to help us understand all this, the absolutely groundbreaking work of Simone de Beauvoir.
Now, her book, The Second Sex, which came out way back in 1949, was a total game changer. It completely revolutionized how we think about gender. It's this incredibly deep dive into how society, not just our biology, shapes what it means to be a woman, and how that shaping can be really oppressive. And this book, this is going to be our roadmap.
And this right here, this is the quote that changes everything. One is not born, but rather becomes a woman. Think about that. What she's saying is that woman isn't just a biological fact you're born with. No, it's a role you're taught, a script you're handed by society. It's something you become.
And you can see how this plays out right from puberty. This comparison really nails it. For boys, it's all about becoming stronger. It's a step towards achievement, something to be celebrated. But for girls, the start of menstruation is so often framed with shame and disgust. It's presented as the beginning of a life of suffering, a biological duty.
Right. So how does all of this societal pressure lead to something as terrifying as the thing? Let's dig in and find out what the roots of our protagonist's suffering really are.
So here's the core idea from de Beauvoir. She pointed out this massive imbalance in society. Man is seen as the default, the subject, the absolute. And woman, she's defined as the other. Her entire identity is built not on her own terms, but always in relation to him.
And this leads to this totally impossible checklist of roles women are supposed to play, and often all at the same time. You've got to be the mother, the wife, the erotic muse, but also the submissive object. Be the virtuous saint, but also the tempting sinner. I mean, come on, it's a game that is literally impossible to win.
And this pressure isn't just some abstract idea floating around. It gets very real very fast, especially within the family. In the novel, it's the protagonist's own mother who lays down these rules. And that's what's so tragic. We see how women, who are themselves victims of the system, can end up enforcing it, passing that same trauma down to the next generation.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty bleak, right? But here's the good news. Both de Beauvoir and Cardinal don't just leave us there. They actually offer a path forward. So let's take a look at the cure.
The path to liberation, to getting out of this prison, is really a two-pronged attack. You've got the internal work, diving deep with psychoanalysis, and you've got the external work, which is all about the real-world power that comes from financial independence.
First things first, she has to find the words. Psychoanalysis is often called the talking cure for a reason. It finally gives her a space to put her trauma into language. And by speaking it, by saying it out loud, she starts to strip the pain of its power over her body. She's literally replacing the body's language of blood with the power of oral language.
120 francs. Now this number seems random, but it is so important. That's how much her therapy cost each week. And here's the kicker. Her analyst insisted that she pay for it herself, with money that she earned. This wasn't just about paying a bill, no. It was about making her an active participant in her own cure.
And that act of earning her own money, it's completely transformative. It gives her actual concrete freedom. This is straight out of de Beauvoir's playbook. For her, work is the key. It's what allows a woman to finally exist for herself on her own terms, and not just as the other in someone else's story. But, life isn't a fairy tale, and liberation isn't some simple happily ever after ending. The novel is incredibly honest about the fact that this stuff is messy. Identity is complex, and the journey is ongoing. See, her suffering has all these different layers. It's not just about being a woman under patriarchy, it's also about her being a pied noir. That's a person of French descent who was born in colonial Algeria. So when the war for Algerian independence kicked off, she felt it physically. She called it the assassination of her country. It was a political wound that her body felt. So she's not just carrying personal trauma, her body is carrying historical trauma too.
And that really brings us to the core takeaway of this whole story. It's just so powerful. The idea is that our bodies, they speak our unspoken truths. They often become this unwilling stage for all the traumas, the histories, the things our conscious minds just aren't ready to deal with yet.
So that leaves us with one last question to chew on. And this goes way beyond just analyzing a book. It's a really profound question for all of us. If our bodies really do speak our unspoken truths, what is your body trying to tell you? What stories might it be holding?